Do you want an insanely strong build in Elden Ring that takes 0 skill to use? Well, this build staggers bosses and large enemies in 2 hits, and smaller enemies don't even get the chance to hit you back. I have almost 1,000 hours in Elden Ring. Jeez. Nerd! No, for real though, I have almost 1,000 hours in Elden Ring, and this build has made this game an absolute breeze. This is like a cyberbully build, and the best part of it is it's easy to get, and it takes actually no skill to use. Like, seriously, I don't have any skill in this game. Oh yeah, and you can even stagger bosses like Melania out of Death Blossom like this. And I'll just leave this gameplay of me absolutely demolishing phase 1 of Melania while I talk about this. And trust me, I know there are builds out there that one-shot bosses, but I really don't feel like doing this before a fight. You only need to pop 2 buffs and an Ash of War and you're just ready to destroy the boss. But let me not waste any more time talking about it, and let me show you how to get everything you need for this build. Before I do though, I quickly ask for a like and a sub on this video since it helps me out so much. And seriously, if you do, thank you so much. But let's start with the first piece of this build, and that's going to be the weapon. To get this, you need to come to Prospect Town, and if you don't know how to get here, from the First Grace, head north to Michaelis Cross, and then from here just run west under the cliff, and there's a rock path behind you can take all the way to the top. Once at the top, grab the Grace, and then you can go into the town. And once you're in here, just go through the Bohemian Grove until you find them doing the ritual in the middle, and killing one of these enemies will give you a 100% chance drop rate for this weapon. It is a guarantee on the kill. I'm sorry, I just don't know which one I killed, but it's just one of these guys here. So obviously once you've done that, you now have the Blood Fiend's arm. Here are the weapon's required stats and base stats for you, and this weapon is upgraded with smithing stones, and I definitely recommend you get it to plus 25 as quick as possible. But you might be wondering what's so special about this weapon, and you might also wonder that because it did just get nerfed. And while yes, it did get nerfed, it honestly was just a slight nerf, because this weapon still does very high poise damage and stacks a whole lot of bleed build, and it's charged heavy when it lands, actually does a blood AoE, and that hit does so much damage it'll either stagger the enemy or proc bleed. And this will either happen on the first or second hit, but almost every hit you're either stacking bleed or staggering an enemy. And for the Ash of War on it, you're going to want to use Cragblade. When you select the affinity, make sure that you select bleed, and that's because at max level you can stack 208 blood loss buildup, which is why you're going to be proccing bleed so much. When you use Cragblade, just with that alone, your AR is going to be 1002. Keep in mind, I'm going to have some talismans and everything else shifting that around, but just with your Ash War on it alone, you're going to be having 1002 AR already. So when you factor in the bleed, the staggering, and all the other buffs from the talismans, you can see why this does so much damage. But now that you have your weapon and it's fully set up, it's time to have your spells set up correctly. And before I go into it, yes, obviously you can add a bunch, you can add whatever ones you want. These are just the 2 I recommend you use, because personally I like my smash builds feeling like they're just a smash build. I don't really want to think, I just want to run up to an enemy and just hit it. So all I'm using for this build is Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow, and that's it. Obviously you can use more, there's going to be other stuff you can do this build to buff it up, but like I've said over and over again, I just like my smash builds being a smash build. When you use both Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow along with Cragblade, your AR should be around 1400, and honestly you really only need to use Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength before bigger enemies or boss fights, so don't worry about doing this all the time. This weapon does plenty of damage without that. For the seal, you can use any seal you want. Personally, I'm using the Golden Order seal, but for self-inflicted buffs, I'm not sure it actually matters what you use. For my armor, I'm kind of going more fashion here for the helmet. If you're looking for pure DPS, I recommend you use the white mask instead of what I'm using, but since I love the way the bear pelt looks, and especially with this whole outfit, I'm just going to stick with the bear pelt. But if you do want the pelter or lava like I'm using, come to this pond above the Morth ruins and kill the rune bear here. And I'm going to let you know now, this rune bear is on meth, so good luck. For the rest of the armor, I'm using the Rakaka. Okay, I'm dyslexic, I can't read, and when I can read, you guys still shit on me for not reading things correctly. I don't know what it's called, okay? I'm gonna call it Rashasha. You can read it yourself and call it whatever you want. But yeah, I like this armor because it's red, and I like it a lot. But you actually do get a damage buff for using this at the cost of the enemy is also doing more damage to you, so that's up to you if you want to use it. Personally, I only use this because I think it looks sick with the helmet, and altogether this outfit looks cool to me. But if you do want the Rakaka set, come to the Recluse River upstream Grace and run along the top path, and up here you should eventually see a mausoleum on the lower level in this area. Once you see this, just make your way down, and once you get down here, killing the boss will give you this armor set. And next, and most importantly, we now have the talismans. And honestly, 2 of these talismans are very optional, so I'm gonna give you the free chance to just do whatever you want with these. these, but I'm going to start off by giving you the 2 talismans I definitely recommend you use. The first one is going to be the Axe Talisman. This enhances charged attacks, which is the entire point of this build, so you definitely want this on. And the second one is the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. This makes it so you do more damage when blood is blah blah blah. Okay, you get the point. For the next 2, feel free to swap these around, but personally I'm using the Claw Talisman. I really like jumping attacks in this game, and I feel like it's a good way for me to close distance and get damage out, so that's why I use it, but that's up to you. And in the 4th spot, I'm using the Ritual Sword. At max HP, I can put out more damage, which when you're an absolute chat at the game like me, you basically never get hit, so
It's not tough.
What did I just die to? I just died.
Yeah, you've done that like 7 times in the
Oh,
minutes I've been watching.
All right, bro.
but yeah, I like my added damage, so that's why I'm using it. I could also see the Turtle Talismans being really good in these spots and working well in this build, since you are using a lot of stamina, along with the Godfrey icon, and honestly just a lot of stuff you can put here. That's the nice part about some of these builds, is that you get free spots for That's the nice part about some of these builds, is you get free slots for flexible. What is happening, bro? That's the nice part about some of these builds, you get free slots for That's the nice part about some of these builds, you get free spots for That's the nice part about some of these builds, is you get free spots for flexibility. So if you want to use some spells and throw some talismans on to buff that, you definitely have the option to do that here. However, for your physic, I definitely recommend that you use the 2 that I'm using here. The first one I use is the Stone Barb Cracked Tear. This will increase the likeliness that the boss will stagger. And secondly, I use the Spiked Cracked Tear. This will enhance your charged attacks, making you just do more damage with them. And with all 4 of those buffs combined, your AR should be around 2700. You can definitely make this higher if you sweat out all the damage, but honestly, as an easy to use build and something that you don't have to sit there forever and buff up for, this is just really easy and a lot of AR. For the stats for this build, I usually don't ever recommend stats in my builds. Especially now, because we're in this DLC, everyone's stats are going to be all over the place. The only thing I can say is just make sure that you have the bare minimum stats to use this weapon, and other than that, it's really up to you here. Obviously, tapping more into stuff like strength is going to help out with your AR, but you're a big boy, I'm sure you can figure it out. If you've never used a build like this before and you're not sure how to buff up before a fight, it's really simple. First, use Flame Grant Me Strength, and then use Cragblade. After that, pop Golden Vow, and then finally, drink your Physic. After that, run into the boss fight, wait for the boss to do an attack, and then charge up your heavy right behind him and hit it. If you get this off twice, you'll most likely stagger the boss in that, and then you can crit them. After the crit, as they're standing back up, you can do another charge to heavy, and this sequence is really what you're looking for when you're in a boss fight. It makes the boss fight so much easier. They start off with so much less health, and yeah, I mean, this is a really simple build to use, so I hope I helped you guys out, and I hope you like it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you watched all the way until this point, comment chicken wing. I don't know, people say that this weapon looks like a chicken wing. Also, chicken wings sound hella good right now. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Prez, and I'm out, bro. Peace. All right, that's done. Oh, what the? You're still here? All right, well then, rate my flick.
Rotate, rotate.
Nice shot.
Good shot.
Oh my god, Sid.
Thanks, boys.